Planet of the Apes wasn't just a pulp sci-fi adventure. It was a daring, seat-of-your-pants revolt against 1960s Hollywood caution. Fights over budgets, masks that melted in the desert, and a composer who literally donned a gorilla head. All of it lurked behind those famous ruins on the beach. Tonight we're unsealing 20 weird facts about Planet of the Apes, the production disasters, casting crises, and cultural shocks Fox never expected you to hear. Stick around for the bonus fact that even hardcore ape heads miss and discover how a single deleted scene might have changed the entire franchise. Ready? Hit play, strap in, and let's swing straight into forbidden territory. 1. The $5,000 gamble that greenlit an empire. On March 8, 1966, producer Arthur P. Jacobs personally front-loads $5,000 for an 8-minute test scene. Charlton Heston strides in astronaut gear while Edward G. Robinson wheezes through a rough Dr. Zas mask. Linda Harrison and James Brolin chatter in early chimp prosthetics. The footage isn't about acting, it's proof that John Chambers' latex jaws can flex on camera without cracking. When skeptical Fox executives screen the dailies, they're floored. The apes look alive. That instant nod turns a risky paperback adaptation into a studio tentpole and sparks one of cinema's most enduring franchises. 2. The $1,000,000 myth that sold tickets. Advertisements boasted the film spent a cool $1 million on makeup, an eye-watering sum in 1967. But associate producer Mort Abrahams later confessed the true figure hovered closer to $500,000, but $1 million made better publicity. The ruse worked. Journalists trumpeted the number, audiences equated cost with quality, and Fox recouped the entire budget in its first 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Chambers' team stretched every nickel, pre-blending appliances and recycling hairpieces, proving movie magic isn't always about burning cash. Sometimes it's about spinning a headline. 3. A twist ending with two competing fathers. Rod Serling's earliest drafts already ended with a battered Statue of Liberty. But when blacklisted screenwriter Michael Wilson was hired, he overhauled dialogue and politics, and insisted on shifting exactly how Taylor discovered the monument. For decades, fans sparred over who really authored the most famous reveal in sci-fi history. Surviving drafts show Serling conceived the image, yet Wilson's polish sharpened its timing and bitter tone. Even the Writers Guild finally split the credit, leaving both men forever linked to that jaw-dropping pullback shot. 4. Helicopters, cliffs, and a beach no crew could reach. The apocalyptic shoreline wasn't a matte painting stage, it was a remote cove between Malibu and Oxnard, bordered by 130-foot cliffs. There was no road. Gear, horses, and fully suited ape actors had to be lowered in by helicopter every dawn. The roar of rotor blades scattered dialogue, sand blasted the latex, and a single dropped camera would have shattered on the rocks. Director Franklin Schaffner burned an entire week on the location, but the heart-stopping final reveal he captured justified every precarious lift. 5. Charlton Heston's flu becomes Taylor's rage. During the Arizona desert shoot, Heston is stricken with a raging flu that leaves him feverish and hoarse. Producers debate halting production until the star recovers, but Schaffner decides the graveled voice suits a man who's marched across an alien wasteland. Heston soldiers on, temperature spiking, lips cracking, especially in the scene where fire hoses pummel Taylor in the holding pen. In his diary, he later wrote, "He felt like hell every time that damn hose hit me. Yet the raw rasp underscores the character's exhaustion and sells the audience on his ordeal." 6. When the desert tried to kill the apes. It isn't just makeup, it's an oven. Glen Canyon, Utah hammers the set with 115-degree heat. Latex appliances bake, spirit gum liquefies, and chimp noses droop like softened wax. Extras collapse between takes. Ambulance crews race through the red dust. John Chambers improvises a cool-down line. Masked actors file past industrial fans, ice cubes packed under their armpits, hair dryers set to cold blasting inside helmets. It isn't vanity, it's survival. By sundown, half the call sheet nurses migraines, yet cameras keep rolling because the location rental clock is merciless. What audiences don't see is the literal fight to keep the apes' faces from sliding off before cut. 7th, Roddy McDowall's secret 16mm diary, not corporate EPK, but a rebel's scrapbook. Between takes, McDowall whips out a personal bell and Howell Filmo and records candid footage. Stunt chimps practicing vaults, Heston joking about monkey business, Chambers scraping latex at midnight. The studio forbids leaks. Ape makeup is proprietary gold, so McDowall hides reels in his trailer's false drawer, labeling them laundry. Decades later, the restored snippets surface in a Blu-ray extra, revealing raw, affectionate glimpses of a crew sweating through cinematic history. Without Roddy's gorilla lens, much of Apes' day-to-day struggle would be lost forever. 8. Dining segregation by species. It wasn't method acting, it was logistics. Once actors suited up, each trip through makeup took 2 hours to reseal edges. So the team institutes a strict lunch rule. Chimps, gorillas, and orangutans eat at separate picnic clusters to avoid cross-contamination and speed touch-ups. The real humans? Banished to a distant truck. Charlton Heston later quips, "I felt like the alien on my own picture." Not camaraderie, but triage. Keeping fur out of vegetable soup meant shaving minutes off the reset clock and shaving thousands off the budget. 9. Smoke that nearly suffocated Dr. Zas. The tribunal chamber calls for shafts of eerie dust. Effects techs rig smoke pots, cheap, powerful, and utterly toxic. During a long take, Maurice Evans feels his mask tighten. The nostril slits draw in nothing but acrid haze. He signals for a cut. No one notices beneath layers of prosthetic sermonizing. Seconds from blacking out, Evans rips off his jawpiece on camera, breaking the illusion but saving his lungs. The crew swaps in dry ice fog thereafter. Not a creative decision, an emergency pivot that keeps their star breathing. 10. The composer who howled in an ape mask. Jerry Goldsmith refuses a standard orchestra. Instead, he assembles steel mixing bowls, Brazilian cuicas, and ram's horns, then records the score while wearing a full chimp mask, convinced it frees him from traditional motifs. The sessions erupt into primal yelps and clanging metal that redefine sci-fi music. Fox executives panic. "Is this noise?" Schaffner insists, "It's the soul of the film." He's right. Goldsmith's atonal pulses. 10th become iconic. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because behind every unforgettable soundtrack lies at least one composer sweating under rubber, banging on kitchenware, and frightening the session musicians. 11. The blockbuster that patched Fox's bleeding wallet. It wasn't just a talking ape thriller. It was the studio's lifeline. 5 years after Cleopatra's $40 million spiral nearly bankrupted 20th Century Fox, executives stare at red ink and real estate fire sales. Then Planet of the Apes stamps its $5.8 million budget into a roaring $33 million domestic gross, enough to keep the gates open and greenlight the 1970s slate. Industry papers marvel that a single sci-fi gamble steadied an empire, proving latex and allegory can rescue a studio faster than any prestige epic. 12. Lunch through a straw, every single day. Not chow lines, liquid rations. The prosthetic muzzles lock actors' mouths 4 inches behind rubber lips, so steaks become smoothies. Dailies pause while assistants puree sandwiches into thermos jugs. Charlton Heston, horrified, hikes a mile back to base camp and returns with boxes of industrial drinking straws, saving dehydrated co-stars from collapsing in 100-degree desert heat. Castmate Lou Wagner recalls fainting extras and faces melting before our eyes. Survival isn't heroic dialogue, it's sipping soup through plastic tubing between takes. 13. A spaceship sinks for real at Lake Powell. The opening crash isn't miniatures, it's a full-scale capsule eased onto still water at Utah's Alstrom Point. Divers hide beneath pontoons, guiding the hull as cameras roll from a barge. One wrong tug and the set, plus the only hero raft, vanishes 170 feet down. Wind kicks red desert waves, crew dashes to anchor before dusk steals light. When Heston, Burton, and Gunner leap clear, the capsule floods exactly on cue, then buckles and goes under, stranding everyone on an isolated mesa, reachable only by helicopter. Not CGI, pure logistical brinkmanship. 14. Poker-playing gorillas and tango-dancing chimps. Between setups, ape extras can't strip the 2-hour makeup, so they kill time in costume. Cameras catch gorillas shuffling cards, chimps twirling script girls, and an orangutan in spectacles reading Variety. The surreal backstage carnival erupts in laughter until assistant directors bark, "Places!" and the same playful primates march back to judicial solemnity. What audiences didn't know, the masks create a parallel society where species-based cliques party like a backlot Mardi Gras, turning downtime into a living, breathing satire of ape culture itself. 15. The tribunal scene rewrites the Scopes monkey trial. Not a random kangaroo court, a razor-sharp riff on 1925's battle over teaching evolution. 3 robed orangutans literally strike the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil poses while condemning Taylor's blasphemous science. Scholars call it a cinematic reversal. Apes prosecute a human for heresy, just as Tennessee once prosecuted a teacher for Darwin. 9 months after the film's release, the last anti-evolution statutes fall, proof that a pulp adventure can needle real-world dogma until it crumbles. 16. The Oscar that shouldn't exist. There was no Best Makeup category in 1968, so the Academy invents a Special Achievement Award to honor John Chambers' breakthroughs. Walter Matthau hands Chambers the Golden Statuette, recognizing latex innovations lifted from prosthetics he once designed for wounded World War II veterans. In one night, genre makeup graduates from craft service afterthought to Oscar-level art, paving the way for every monster, alien, and mutant that followed. 17. War scars beneath every snout. Chambers' ape faces aren't fantasy. They're battle tech. During the war, he rebuilds disfigured soldiers' features with medical appliances. 2 decades later, he repurposes the same silicone flexibility so Zira can smile and Cornelius can snarl. Not movie magic, but rehabilitation science reborn as cinema. The result, expressions that feel heartbreakingly real because they're engineered from real human trauma. 18. A composer conducts in disguise. Jerry Goldsmith steps onto the scoring stage wearing a full chimp mask. He slashes batons, pounds cuicas, and sends French horns shrieking through ram's horn mouthpieces. Musicians first laugh, then fall silent under the primal urgency. Goldsmith insists the mask frees the animal ear, and the atonal clatter he records becomes one of film's most radical scores. Studio brass calls it noise. 50 years later, it still sounds like the birth of another planet. 19. The pregnancy fox found distasteful. Early cuts reveal Nova carrying Taylor's child and the astronaut dying under an ape sniper's bullet. Executives balk, interspecies intimacy, and a downbeat finale feel too incendiary, so the entire subplot is excised, leaving reels of unseen footage in vaults. Screenwriter Michael Wilson fumes that moral squeamishness robbed the story of its darkest mirror. Somewhere, cans of 35mm hold the sequel that never was. 20. Action figures that conquered toy aisles. It wasn't marketing fluff. It was a retail revolution. In 1974, Mego's 8-inch Dr. Zas, Soldier Ape, and Action Stallion hit shelves, spawning playsets where kids reenact courtroom debates and cornfield chases. The line sells millions, proving serious sci-fi can fuel playground economies and prefiguring the Star Wars merchandising boom 3 years later. Apes don't just rule the screen, they seize the toy box. Bonus fact: the legend who walked away Edward G. Robinson, not Maurice Evans, first wears Dr. Zayas's orange brow in a 1966 proof-of-concept reel that costs just $5,000. The footage convinces Fox, but Robinson's heart condition forced him to quit before principal photography. His short, grainy test still circulates among fans, a spectral performance that haunts every courtroom scene, the Zas who might have been. Planet of the Apes wasn't merely a genre hit. It was a financial rescue mission, a laboratory for prosthetic science, a courtroom for cultural heresy, and the seed of modern movie merchandising. Its rubber-snouted rebels still echo in blockbusters that question authority and in every action figure that stares back from a shelf. Smash that subscribe button, share these secrets with your fellow damn dirty humans, and remember, it wasn't just a movie. It was a warning written in latex and sand.